if you're an orthopedic group still operating only in the hospital system, like get your act together. You need to have an ASC, especially if you want to remain private and not sell out or get acquired. You've got to have that. And that is the top 10 growing private orthopedic practices right now in the United States. So this is my website. If you haven't been to it, I would love for you to go to it and check it out. It lists all of our jobs. I have tons of resources, articles that I post on, how to interview APPs and surgeons, how to go against the market right now, etc. I'm going to go over these groups and practices, and maybe you can look into what they're doing different that has allowed them to make this list. First one being Ortho Virginia. So obviously this is in Virginia. It sounds like they have over 100 specialists. I'm not sure if that means both surgeons and APPs and also non-clinical and clinical staff, but they really have 100 specialist surgeons and docs. That's impressive. It sounds like they're physician owned. Love to see that. As a recruitment firm, we primarily only work with groups that are privately owned. We avoid working with groups that are owned by private equity and or larger firms or hospital systems, mainly just because I feel like I can relate to the types of doctors that want to work for these groups more. We're a small group. We're privately owned. We're not backed by anybody. And so when I hire, I look for people that are hungry, have that entrepreneurship factor, if you will, and who aren't afraid of starting from scratch, from building and from kind of being their own CEO within the group. And so I've just found that I relate better to those doctors and I can make that match quicker just because I know what types of skill sets to seek out rather than trying to find an employed physician and or somebody that's just wanting to kind of coast. There's nothing wrong with that. You've worked hard in medical school. So if you decide to go that route, more power to you. Personally, I'm more of the entrepreneur. I want to build. I want to create something that I'm reaping the benefits of down the road, even if it's not now. And I'm okay with kind of that upfront, taking on the cost, overhead, to then get the higher cost of things down the road. Thanks for tuning in to the Healthy Careers Podcast. In 2024, we reached over 32,000 listeners and ranked in the top 15% of all podcasts. We're proud to have SharePro Health as a sponsor and are currently looking for 2 more partners in 2025. If you're looking to connect with healthcare leaders, providers, and innovators, we'd love to spread the word about your service, product, or business. Reach out to me, Maddie, for more details. So the second one is Panorama Orthopedics Spine Center. This is in Colorado. Sounds like they're expanding their ASCs. And they also have a bunch of ancillary services in-house with PT, sports med stuff. Texas Orthopedic Hospital Physician Group, obviously in Texas. Sounds like they're operating independently from the hospital that they're doing surgeries out of, which is kind of cool. I wonder what type of setup they have there. But it sounds like they're maintaining full physician ownership and operational control, which is best of both worlds. If you can have that PSA, more power to you. Centers for Advanced Orthopedics in Mid-Atlantic. Over 130 independent physicians. So that's great. And it looks like they have a hybrid model, attracting smaller practices looking for benefits of scale without giving up independence. That's honestly the sweet spot. If you can find a group that's in growth mode, has ancillary services in their own ASC, maintains control even over, operating and that kind of thing in the hospital system, but has that stability or that referral system there, that is awesome. Rothman Orthopedic Institute, they're very present on my LinkedIn. I've heard a bit about them, but it sounds like they work off of more partnerships than acquisitions with the hospital system. So again, interesting model for physicians that are looking for that type of thing. Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, looks like they work with the University Medical Center there, but are still operating independently. So that's pretty cool. Private practice obviously gives you the autonomy, the independence to where you're not having to answer to big healthcare systems, which in my mind is a win-win. Ortho Arizona, obviously also using the ASC model, which if you're an orthopedic group that's not doing that, you need to, because that's how you're going to win back on that reimbursement challenge with insurance companies and the growing costs of overhead and everything else. It's also how you're going to attract the right physicians who are wanting that private practice model, who want the partnership model, and who will buy into the ASC. Southwest Orthopedic Group, looks like they're just in growth mode right now. And they're including pain management, which I've also seen a lot of private groups add on to their services, if you will, not only on the ancillary side, but in pain management, interventional pain, and spine, as well as regenerative medicine, stem cell medicine, all of that kind of stuff right now is super hot in the press, right? Jury's out on people that are all in on it or people that are still skeptical. Personally, I think it's worth looking into, especially if you're at a point where you don't want to jump the gun on surgery and also post-surgery, right? We want to make sure that we're staying on top of those ancillary services as far as PT goes, as well as potential things, like when you look at steroid injections, that kind of thing. So